I have a confession. Jordan, what do you have a confession about? I'm going to get to that. But before I get into that, I just want to preface this video by saying that, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the mark of a true man, or really the mark of a true adult, is the willingness to accept one's own shortcomings. And in this video, that is precisely what I'm doing. Now look, I've never claimed to be perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect, and I will never claim to be perfect, because I'm not. And this situation right here is just further proof of that. I mess up too. I'm still learning. And in this case, I could look at this scenario in one of two ways. I could look at it as the biggest loss that I've ever taken, or I can look at it as the biggest lesson that I've ever learned. And for the sake of my own peace of mind and my own mental health and my own self-perception, I'm going to choose to look at it as the biggest lesson that I've ever learned. Now, let me go ahead and stop beating around the bush. December 6th, 2021. I wake up feeling extra enthusiastic. I get dressed, I get in my car, I leave my apartment complex. Before I leave the complex, I stop at the leasing center and I say, I would like to reserve a covered parking spot. Why did I do that? I did that because I knew that I was going to come home with a new car that day. Now, before I go any further in this story, okay, some of you already know where I'm going with this. If I could go back in time and talk to that version of me, my 21-year-old self, literally just 7 months ago, if I could go back and talk to that version of myself, I wouldn't even say anything to him. I would just steal on him immediately, bro. I'd put that man to sleep. I would put that man to sleep. There is no way that he's leaving the apartment. There's no way he's leaving the apartment complex. And he's definitely, sure as hell, not going to the BMW dealership like he did. Because his decision to go to the BMW dealership that day and come back with a brand new 2022 BMW with 91 miles on it is what put me, okay, 22-year-old Jordan, who is wised up from that decision, into the compromising position that I'm currently in. Now look, that day, that dreadful day, I got in my car, I went to the BMW dealership, and I came back with a brand new 2022 BMW. Some of you might even remember the 2 videos that I posted right after I got it. And I must admit, okay, I have certain people in my circle who are much more financially astute than I am, and I can only imagine the things that they were thinking when they saw me in that new BMW. And to their credit, okay, if any of you are watching this, I appreciate you for withholding your criticism at that time and for letting me learn this lesson on my own and let the happiness fade away naturally. Let me tell you guys something, okay? I always thought that getting a new car would be the main thing that brought me the most happiness. I used to obsessively watch videos, POV videos, of some of my favorite cars. It was a foregone conclusion that as soon as I got into some money, I would get a nice car. And as soon as I got into some money, I got in a nice car. I got in a nicer car. Now, let me go ahead and set the stage for those of you who are unfamiliar with the situation I was in when I got that car. Just so that you guys know how stupid, how idiotic this decision actually was. Let me put this shit into context for you. At the time, I was driving a 2015 Kia Optima, a hybrid. Okay, keep that in mind because the fuel efficiency, so you got to think about these things, bro. The gas prices is little things that you don't think about. Is little things that I sure as hell didn't think about when I drove to the BMW dealership. I was driving a 2015 Kia Optima hybrid, and it was completely paid off. Completely paid off. No car payment whatsoever. Completely paid off. My dad gifted the car to me, and not only that, but the car was still in his name, so the insurance averaged out to around $50, maybe $60 a month. I took that car, I brought it to the BMW dealership, and I traded it in for a brand new BMW. Matter of fact, I didn't trade it in. I got $13,000 independently, and then I just took on the entirety of the payment myself. Okay, so instead of using that car as equity to lower my monthly payments, which I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm especially glad I didn't do that because if I did that, I would be homeless right now. Nevertheless, I took that car, I traded it in, I got $13,000 deposited into my account, and I got a brand new BMW. Now, to be fair, okay, to be fair to all of my financially astute people that are in my circle, I'm still up on that deal, technically speaking. If we want to talk technicalities, I am still up on that deal because I'm currently paying $719 per month. And as I say that number out loud, I feel a part of me dying on the inside. $719 per month for the BMW. I didn't put any money down, by the way. $719 per month, $209 a month for insurance. And then on top of that, I wanted to get a garage space in my apartment complex to keep my car safe from the elements. Because after all, who wants to put a brand new 2022 BMW out on the street? $125 a month for the garage. You add that up yourself, over $1,000. Over $1,000 a month. So pretty much overnight, I went from having my overhead being just my rent, my groceries, and my bills to all of a sudden being pretty much double that. Because now you add on an extra $1,000 for a car, which is better than the other car that I had, but definitely not $1,000 a month better. There is no car that is $1,000 a month better than not having a car payment. Unless your car is an absolute junker, an absolute beater, and a money pit, which my car was not. Now, if I'm being real, I don't necessarily regret selling that car because I sold it at peak value. If you guys are unaware, the current car market is a seller's market. So if you have a used car, you're going to get much more for it than you would have gotten a year and a half ago, assuming that it doesn't have any catastrophic engine failure or anything like that, any crazy body damage. The car was still in great condition. So I got $13,000. Had I waited, I would have gotten less because there'd be more miles in the car. Fair enough. My regret is what I did with that $13,000. Okay, and I'm gonna break it down to you guys so that you don't ever do the shit that I did, bro. Because I feel like I'm kind of a part of the problem because I further propagated this message through my own content. And given that I did that, I have to take it upon myself to reverse those effects on you guys. So I got that $13,000. The first thing I did was I had a conversation with myself. How do I want to distribute that $13,000 into my bank accounts? That was the first mistake that I made, was asking that question. Because what I should have done was taken that $13,000 and either reinvested it into my YouTube channel or put it into an S&P 500 index fund, getting 7% return, and just never touched it. Just that money doesn't exist, okay? Take that money, put it away. And then instead of going to the BMW dealership, I should have went to the Hyundai dealership. Okay, they had a deal for, I believe it was a Sonata or an Elantra. I don't even remember. It really doesn't matter at this point. It's irrelevant, but $250 a month with no money down, bro. Let me break down the math for you guys real quick, okay? $250 a month. Let's just say they mark it up to $350 a month. Cool, add an extra 100, whatever. $350 a month. Insurance, let's just say it's the same 200, $550 a month. I don't need a garage because it's a Hyundai. That's what, $550 a month. $550 a month if my math serves me correctly. Honestly, I can't even think straight right now. I've been crunching numbers in my head all day and I'll get to that in a second. But $550 a month versus $1,000. I would have saved $450 a month in overhead. And I would have had an extra $13,000 in my pocket because I wouldn't have spent it. I wouldn't be spending it on this BMW. Okay, now, I didn't just spend it on the BMW, mind you. Okay, because what I ended up doing, like I said, I had that conversation with myself about how I wanted to distribute that money. I ended up splitting it evenly between my 3 bank accounts. I have my personal bank account, which is what I use to pay my rent. It's what I use to pay my car note, my groceries, all of my day-to-day expenses. I have my business account, which is what I use to purchase equipment or to purchase labor or anything that I can write off on my taxes. If I do a giveaway, it comes out of my business account. And then I have my savings account. That's where my nest egg is. That's where the money goes and doesn't come out. Or hypothetically, because now I'm having to go into my savings to compensate for the mistake that I made, this catastrophic mistake that I made December 6th of 2021. I'll forever remember that day in my mind, by the way. I have to compensate by going into my nest egg, which took me months to build up. Okay, and let me go ahead and paint the picture as far as where I am right now. Okay, right now I'm in a position where, because I'm not necessarily making as much on YouTube, obviously there are ebbs and flows with YouTube. Sometimes your income goes up, sometimes it goes down. I've said this in the past. If you're going to be a YouTuber, if you're going to be self-employed, you have to become comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to become comfortable with uncertainty. And I think I got a little bit too comfortable. Because now I'm in a position where basically I'm having to get rid of my BMW. I don't have to get rid of it. I can still afford it, but my margins are to the point where it's just not sustainable for my mental health. Okay, it is not sustainable for me. So in order to get out of this BMW lease, I have to pay $3,000. Okay, they appraised my car at $41,000 and I owe $44,000 on it. I have to pay $3,000. I have to make up that difference out of my own pocket. That's $3,000, poof, gone. And then on top of that, to get a new car, I have to put a down payment down, probably $2,000. So we're talking $5,000. $5,000 that I gotta come out of my own pocket to pay in order to get out of this lease deal and get a cheaper car. And guess what? Whatever car I get is probably going to be very, very incrementally better than the Kia Optima that I had that was already paid off. Catastrophic L, like I said, okay? This is the biggest L I've ever taken in my life.